It's literally right at the back. All right, let me. All right, Shalom. This is the ISUPK under Commanding General Yohana. Since 1969, we've been teaching the truth according to the Bible that blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians are the true and biblical Israelites. The people that you read about in the Bible, they have descendants till this day, man. And their descendants today will be blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. And we are the chosen people of God, man. The people that God parted the Red Sea for, the people that heard the voice of God and lived, man. And those people today are blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians. So why is it that we don't know who we are? And the reason is because of religion, man. In the church, they have us believing that it doesn't matter who you are. When in the same Bible they read, it's talking about one nation of people. It clearly does matter who you are. With Isaiah, he's an Israelite. Ezekiel is an Israelite. All the prominent men that you read about in that same book, all of those men come from one nation, and that is the nation of Israel. So in the same Bible you're reading, nation doesn't matter. Your race, ethnicity, it does matter because the Bible is only dealing with one race of people, man. So just waiting for everyone to come in. So with that being said, for those of you that are new to class, we do have a school. The address is 394 Lodge Road, postcode B18 5PW. And from this school, we teach classes 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and a Thursday, all at the same time, 7 till 9. So the Monday, you got the history class done by Officer of 5,000 Karafia. Wednesday, the law class done by Officer of 5,000 Dungabar. And today, you got myself, Captain of 10,000 Parasha, teaching the scripture breakdown class. You can check us out on YouTube, ISUPK, United Kingdom. You know what I mean? We've done a powerful Birmingham camp this Saturday gone. You know what I mean? The videos are online. The videos are on a TikTok as well, doing big and numbers. So, do watch that. Also, we're on Facebook channel ISUPK, United Kingdom. You can watch our videos and watch the classes and all things that we do. All right. So with that being said, this being scripture breakdown class, if you have any questions online, feel free to ask them, and we'll break it down. If we don't have it, Shalom, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Barak Thumb.
Shalom, Yahweh Bashem, Yahweh Shai, Barak Thumb.
So with that being said, if you have any questions, feel free to ask. If you're in the class, raise your hand, say Salakia. If you're in the chat, just type your questions in, and we'll take it from there. Salakia, Ariel, you just turn on that device there. So.
Salakia, sir.
Got it. Most high currency. Good hang it, right? No sweat. So with that being said, we're going to start off in Jeremiah 6 and 16.
Slakia, sir, I had a question.
You had a question? Okay, yeah.
Iguana is unlawful, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, because I know a lot of people in Curacao and Aruba, they eat iguana soup and things like that. So, yeah, I just wanted to ask that.
I got yeah. Well, yeah, absolutely. Iguana is a unlawful animal to eat. You know what I mean? And it's not just you. You know what I mean? Every single one of us, from whatever background we are from, there's always something unlawful that we eat that we should not be eating. Whether it's pork, whether it's rabbits in the UK. You know what I mean? There's always something unlawful that we eat that we should not be eating. And you know what I mean? With the dietary law, it's there for a reason, man. A lot of those unlawful animals, when you eat it, it harms you, man. you get the gout, you get worms, you get all kind of things that you wouldn't get if you wasn't eating that animal, man. There's people that eat pork like in abundance, and what happens? They have to go to the hospital and get an operation to get all these worms out of them, man. They got to cut their belly open, and in the operation, just taking out tons of worms by the handful. Just you know what I mean, just basically in and basically they're just getting rid of them in a bowl. Why? From eating pork and all the germs that come along with it. So you know what I mean. Most definitely, iguana is an unlawful animal to eat, man. Give me Deuteronomy 14:1. Deuteronomy 14:1.
Okay. Deuteronomy 14:1. Uh, Ye are the children of the Lord your God. Ye shall not cut yourself, nor make any baldness between your eyes for the dead.
All right. So now, why is the Lord saying this? Because at this time we left Egypt, and what a lot of people don't understand is Egypt had a big influence on us, and the Lord. A lot of these laws we have, they're there to what? Not make us Egyptian, man. Not make us have their ways. And what did the Egyptians do? They cut themselves for the dead, man. When they miss someone, they would either cut themselves on the face or wherever they liked. And even in Africa till this day, whenever they mourn someone who died, they cut themselves. And God's saying, listen, don't be like them, man. And then make no boldness in between your eyes for the dead. There's an Egyptian god called Bashteth, and to worship her for the dead, the women, they'll basically shave off all of their eyebrows. So he's not saying a woman can't pluck her eyebrows, but of course the Egyptian women, they shave their eyebrows right off for the dead in the name of that god. So what is the point here? God's saying, don't be like them, man. All these nations round about us, and like Egypt, where we left, don't be like them. Read on.
Counsel. Verse 2. For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God, and the Lord hath chosen thee to be a peculiar people unto himself, above all the nations that are upon the earth.
And then, man, the Lord's saying, you're a holy people, meaning what? We are a separate people. We can't cut ourselves for the dead. Why? Because we're holy, man. You can't make a boldness in between your eyes for the dead. Why? Because you're holy. You're separate. Let them do that. You mean they're the common? You mean they're just a commoners? We're holy, man. We're separate. The common people cut themselves for the dead. The common people make a boldness in between their eyes for the dead. But the holy people, we can't do that, man. We are separate and we are chosen above all people upon the face of the earth. Read up.
Counsel. Verse 3. Thou shalt not eat any abominable thing.
And there you go. So now, along with not doing those things for the dead, the holy people can't eat no abominable thing, man. Showing you what? Even thousands of years ago, other nations ate unclean food, man. It's nothing new. Eating pork, eating iguanas, eating rabbits, eating camels. It's nothing new. And God told us, listen, we can't eat no abominable thing, man. The holy people, the chosen of the Lord, we can't eat no abominable thing. Does anyone know what the word abominable means? If something is abominable, does anyone know what that means?
La, sir.
All right. Enos, I'll get it for you at the dictionary. The word abominable, just so that everyone knows what the word means, right?
Come, sir.
All right. So we got abominable, causing a moral re-evulsion. So it's something that is disgusting. So if something is abominable, it is disgusting. And God said, listen, don't eat no disgusting thing. Let me tell you something. An iguana is a disgusting animal, man. A pig is a disgusting animal. You know what I mean? Even when they try to kill a pig, have you seen how a pig dies? Even that alone lets you know that you shouldn't eat no pig, man. A chicken dies easy, man. Lamb dies so easy. Pigs are and fighting and rolling. Even the death of a pig shows you that you should not be eating that. Chickens die easy, man. Lambs, cows die so easy. And pigs and iguanas and many unclean animals that we used to eat, they die so horrible and they're fighting and they're kicking and they're giving you all this fight. Even in the death, it shows you that they're not meant to be eaten, man. A pig squeals and just so much, like even the death is like, I don't think we should be eating that, man. And listen, those things are abominable. They are disgusting. And the Lord saying, verse 3, thou shalt not eat of any disgusting thing, man. And now let that sink in, man. Meaning the holy people can only eat things that the Lord approves of, man. Things out there, there's animals out there that, yes, they are made by the Lord, but they're not made to be eaten, man. Why? Because in the church, what did they like to say? Well, with God, He made everything, and you are absolutely right, man. Yes, God made everything, but God did not make every animal to be eaten, man. A pig is an invention of God, absolutely, man. And on this earth, a pig has a job, but you're not meant to eat that pig, man. Iguanas are an invention of the Lord, hands down. But is an iguana meant to be eaten? No. Just because God made something, it doesn't mean it needs to be eaten. Go ahead, Ariel.
Designer Dogs, who's the creator of them? American Pit Bulls, Staffordshire Bull Terriers.
Okay, those are crossbreeds. So you know what I mean? Of course. So yeah, so those are man-made, absolutely. But the authority comes from the Lord. So they're like a crossbreed of dogs. But the point being is there's many things on the earth that you know what I mean they do serve a purpose. A pig serves a purpose, man. A pig eats waste, crap, you know what I mean? Anything. A pig is the bin of the earth, but it's not made to be eaten, man. Iguanas have a purpose on the earth, but their purpose in the eyes of God is not to be eaten, man. You know what I mean? Let's get his first Timothy's about all creatures are of God. Let me get that.
Do you know what Jeremiah did?
Not yet. Now we'll get back to it. Nothing to be refused. All right. It is first Timothy's 4:1. We'll start from verse 1. First Timothy's 4:1.
One second, sir.
I got it.
Happy.
Assalamu Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai Barakatah.
Shalom, Yahweh Shukatah.
All right. Let's get it. First Timothy's 4:1.
Answer. First Timothy 4:1. Now the Spirit seeketh expressly that in the latter times some shall depart from the faith, giving heed to seducing spirits and doctrines of devils.
All right, so now with Paul, he's breaking down that in the last days, people are going to depart from the faith. So he's talking about then, and of course, you can use it for now. The same way people leave the ISUPK now, people left the truth back then, and it's saying they got seduced. You mean someone said something good, like, you know what, that makes sense. Yeah, man. It's nothing new. And saying that, you mean they give heed, meaning they pay attention to it. Read on.
Speaking, verse 2, speaking lies in hypocrisy, having their conscience sealed with a hot iron.
So speaking lies in here, hypocrisy, meaning you're saying a lie, but you're a hypocrite because you do it too. It's like in the church. This is the best example. In the church, they teach you the laws are done away with, but then want tithes. Isn't tithes the law? That's lies in hypocrisy. So the laws are done away with, which is a lie. But then you're a hypocrite for saying the tithes is mandatory. In the Bible, tithes is a must, but isn't tithes a law? So meaning it's nothing new. People speak lies, and then they're hypocrites because then you're referencing that same thing. If the laws are done away with, don't pay tithes. So they speak lies, and it's hypocrisy, meaning they're going back on themselves. Read on.
Verse 3, forbidding, forbidding to marry and commanding to abstain from meats, which God had created to be received with thanksgiving of them which believe and know the truth.
Now, you see, now this verse here is the point that a Christian misses out. It says, for forbidding to marry. So, meaning some people left the truth, and what did they say? You can only have one wife, man. Or in the Catholic Church, you can't have no wife. That's a lying doctrine. When in the Bible, what is the first commandment that mankind received? If anyone knows, to replenish the earth, Radaya Allah.
To be multiplying the fruit. Multiply.
There you go. So for you to tell a man he can't have no wife, like in the Catholic Church, that's ridiculous. When the first law mankind got was to replenish the earth, to be a fruitful and to multiply. And then you got some fake Israelite groups out there saying that you can only have one wife. That is also forbidden to marry as well. You want another wife, they're like, no, you can't. Those are doctrines of devils right there, man.
Right.
Like what it says in verse 1. But what's the other part? And commanding to abstain from meats. That's the context here. In the church, they read the next verse and go, listen, you can eat what you like. The point of this is you had fake Israelite groups back then saying that you couldn't eat certain meats. That was the point. They're saying, you know what I mean? Meat's bad, man. Only eat vegetables. Like even now, you got some people that listen, if you don't want to eat meat, that is fine. But you can't teach you should not eat meat. If you want to eat herbs and vegetables all your life, it's not a sin. But when you teach that's what God wants, then that's adoption of a devil right there.
So what happens on the Passover? On the first and the last day, you roast lamb.
Now on the Passover, you have to eat lamb. That is that one day where listen, you could eat vegetables all your life, but on the Passover, there's a commandment that you have to eat lamb. Now it doesn't say how much. You could have a little bit of lamb, but you do have to keep that law, whether you're a vegetarian or not. On the Passover, you're gonna have to drink some wine and you're gonna have to eat some lamb. On that holy day, you know what I mean? That's an exception. Whether you're a vegetarian, you're gonna have to. It doesn't say how much. It doesn't say you need to eat a leg of lamb. All it's saying is eat some lamb. So on the Passover, you would have to do that. You know what I mean? But the point here is they're telling you to abstain from meat. And you got people that are saying, listen, man, do not eat meat. It's a sin if you eat meat, and that is not in the Bible. And that's what people was teaching back then, that, you know what I mean? Basically, in their ideology that they had, that you could not eat meat. Reader.
Answer. Verse 4. For every creature of God is good, and nothing to be refused, if it to be received with thanksgiving.
And that's a Christian right there. For a creature of God is good, and automatically they think ham, like, you're man, pig, man. But it's not saying that. Verse 3 sets the scene. It's letting you know that these people are telling you to abstain from meats, with thanks a giving of them that believe and know the truth. So here's the question: if you know the truth, you will know what meats you can eat. Why? Because this person knows the truth. They know they can't eat pig. They know they can't eat iguanas. They know they can't eat rabbits. They know, you know what I mean, they can't eat bats. For every a creature of God is good. What creatures? The creatures that God says you can eat, they are good, man. A chicken is good to eat if you know the truth. Lambs are good to eat if you know the truth. You know this, man. No, these men can't tell you not to eat it. Why? Because you know the truth. And in the middle, and nothing to be refused, meaning no man can tell you don't eat that. You know the truth. That person can't tell you not to eat it, man. And that's the point of this verse. This verse isn't saying you can eat what you like. It's telling you that, listen, anyone telling you not to eat those meats, you can, because you know the truth. And you know what I mean? No one can tell you to refuse those animals, which is the point. If it be received with thanks and giving, so I mean, if you want to eat it, man. Don't let no one tell you don't eat it. And that's the point of that, if you understand.
Answer.
So, all right. I got a question online from Sister Aisha. Slakia, can you break down Mark 12 and 25 to 27? Right, let's grab that. Hakian, if you get up for me, Mark 12 and 25.
Mark 12, verse 25. For when they shall rise from the dead, they neither marry nor are given in marriage, but are as angels which are in heaven.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you want to break down on this? All right, no sweat. We'll have to start from Moses. All right, we start from verse 18.
Mark 12:18. Then come unto him the Sadducees, which say that there is no resurrection.
All right, so start right here. So now with the Sadducees, they were a sect of Israelites, and a part of their belief is that they didn't believe in a resurrection, meaning they didn't believe that people died and then they return. So you mean they did not believe that, which also lets you know that with Christ, he taught resurrection, or they wouldn't be asking him about it. So it proves that when Christ was on the earth, he taught that people died and they come back, they resurrect. Otherwise, the Sadducees wouldn't be asking him. So part of his ministry, he taught that there is a resurrection of the dead. He taught that when people die, they're going to resurrect, they're going to return. That's why they're asking him. So now they think they're smart. So now they're asking him a question about the resurrection, meaning, we mean if someone dies and they come back, reader.
And they asked him, saying, Master Moses wrote unto us, if a man's brother die and leave his wife behind him, and leave no children, that his brother should take his wife and raise up seed unto his brother.
Okay, so now they think they have something. So okay, then if people resurrect, if people come back in the law, if a man dies and his wife hasn't got a son in his name, then by law she goes to his a, a brother. So now, if he dies and she doesn't have a son, and it goes on and on, they think they have Christ with that law. Let's read on.
Qadwan Khan. Now there were 7 brethren, and the first took a wife, and dying left no seed.
Mm-hmm.
And the second took her, and died, neither left he any seed. And the third likewise.
Uh-huh.
And the 7 had her, and left her no seed. Last of all, the woman died also.
So of course now they're making up this thing that would never happen. And you keep that in mind. It's like at camp, people make up these things that would never happen. So if the baby was like this and this, you're like, listen, you know what I mean? That doesn't even happen. And likewise, right here, they're making up something that you mean in their lifetime has never happened. All what they want to do, they want to be right. So hang on now. He didn't have a son with her. He died. The first, the second, the third, the fourth, the fifth, the sixth. And then in the end, she dies too. Now, the next verse is going to explain why they're saying this, why they're making up this thing that would never happen. Anyway, read on.
Qadwan Khan, verse 23. In the resurrection, therefore, when they shall rise, whose wife shall she be of them?
Mm-hmm.
For the 7 had her to wife.
Oh, so they think they've you know what I mean? They think Christ, we got you, man. So if you're teaching resurrection, when they all resurrect, whose wife is she gonna be? Because all of them at one point in their life had sex with her. So in the resurrection, whose wife is this a woman gonna be? And guess what? With Christ, he's gonna answer. And believe me, with Christ, he cuts them, man. Read the next verse.
Qadwan Khan. And Jesus answering, said unto them, do ye not therefore err, because you know not the scriptures, neither
Listen,
the
man,
power of God.
I'm gonna break it down for you in a tennis relatable. Dickhead, you don't know the Bible, man. Basically, Christ like, listen, I'm not even entertaining this, man. Christ like, listen, you like error. Of course, this is written in Old English. In this day and age, you'll say, you don't know the Bible, man. Meaning what? With Christ, he didn't even entertain it. Why? Because stuff like that, it doesn't even happen. So he had sex with it, he died, no son. You know what I mean? That doesn't happen. And saying, listen, you don't know the Bible. Why? Because you wouldn't come to him asking a question so dumb. But reader.
Qadwan Khan. For when they shall rise from the dead, they neither marry nor are given in marriage,
Uh-huh.
but are as the angels which are in heaven.
Okay, so now with Christ, they break it down, meaning, for when they shall rise again from the dead, they neither marry. And meaning what? When you resurrect, you're you are a baby again. You're not under no a bondage under your mean. Well, in your past life, you was in his wife, so now you belong to him again. You are resurrected. What? You're a baby. All those ties you had in the past life, they don't mean nothing, man. You mean you don't resurrect and okay, so in your past life you was his wife, so you have to be married to him. Christ saying, listen, they're neither a married nor a given in a marriage.
That's right.
You're just resurrected. You are a baby again. All what happened in the past life it's irrelevant.
That's right.
And that's what Christ is making them understand. So that ridiculous thing that they're saying about, so the first husband died, the second, the third, the fourth, that's irrelevant. Because when they resurrect, they're babies again, man. They're not in marriage like, okay, so where? Yeah, so now this baby needs to go with this baby because in the past life, you know what I mean? That's not the point. You're not given anything. You are new, man. You know what I mean? Right, what's the other part? Both are as the angels. So what does that part mean? It means they're obedient, man. Wherever the Most High wants them to go, whoever the Most High wants them to be with, that's what's going to happen. And the precept for that is Ezekiel 1:6 about the angels of the Lord. So just hold mark. Let's get Ezekiel. I believe it's 1:6 or 1:16.
Ezekiel 1:16, sir.
No. You start from verse 20.
Ezekiel 1 verse 20. Whithersoever the Spirit was to go, they went. Thither was the Spirit to go.
So what
And
we're
the
talking about, I'll break it down. So if you start from verse 16, this is talking about the angels of God. And like what is said in the book of Mark, they are as the angels. So what is as the angels? They're obedient to God, man. And read verse 20 one more time.
Come on, counsel. Whithersoever the Spirit was to go, they went.
Meaning what?
Thither.
So wherever the Most High wants His angels to go, they go, man. And guess what? When we resurrect, when we come back on this earth, we're as the angels. Whoever the Most High wants us to be with, that's where we will be, man. Which is the point that with Christ is saying, listen, in your past life, you're not under that bondage you was in. Your baby, you know what I mean? All those things are gone. And guess what? We are as the angels. In this next life, the Most High might want us to be with somebody else. You know what I mean? So basically, that's the point that with Christ, He was making that. You know what I mean? Whatever happened in the past life is irrelevant. In the past life, you know what I mean? You could have been married to someone famous, rich. In this life, married to a bum man. You know what I mean? Whatever the Most High wants of you, that's what happens. You know what I mean? So let's get back to Mark 12 and 25.
Mark 12:25. For when they shall rise from the dead, neither they neither marry nor are given in marriage,
Mm-hmm.
but are as the angels which are in heaven.
Meaning what? They're just obedient, man. You just find in your next life who the Lord wants you to have. Now, again, that's dependent on you, man. If you're righteous in your path, the Lord will make you find someone righteous. If you're wicked, it's in the Bible as well. The Lord, He will send someone wicked your way. So it's of the Lord, but comparing to how you are, that's who you are going to find. If that makes sense. All right,
Can't sir, can't sir.
all right. And
So
also,
basically, it's like you said, if I could.
yeah, good.
So basically, if you're a wicked person, basically, or a bad-hearted person, the Lord is going to send you that same person for yourself.
That's right. It's in the Apocrypha. It goes, a woman is a portion unto a wicked man. That is the verse. I'm saying it word for word, meaning how you are, that's the person you're going to find. And it's not far fetched. Life shows you that someone who loves weed, the woman just loves weed too, man. You know what I mean? You find someone just like you're angry, you know what I mean? And someone that has no a temperament, the woman you find just tends to be the same way, meaning what? You find people like you. So a lot of times, if you're with someone, you're like, damn, this person's like this. At the same time, you should reflect on yourself and go, well, how did I even get this person? It's clear
Mm.
that inside me, there's something like that too. Hence why I'm with her. Because you know what I mean? If it wasn't, I wouldn't even attract this person. The Lord wouldn't even send someone like this my way as well. You know what I mean? So that's a precept. A wicked woman is a portion unto a wicked man. You know what I mean? That is in Ecclesiasticus chapter 26. And you'll find it in there somewhere, yeah?
So like
All
you
right.
said.
Yeah, good.
So at the same time, obviously, a man can have more than one wife, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
So if you get a good woman now, yeah, you've got one bad one and you've got one good one. How does that work, Salakia? Is that like, okay, you was wicked or you was a certain way, and now you're not, so you've been blessed with something else? How does that work, Salakia, sir? If I could.
How does that work? Well, of course, you can change, and basically in that change, the Lord can send a woman your way. You know what I mean? So it's all dependent on you. You know what I mean? How you are, that's the person you are gonna receive from the Lord. You
Right.
know what I mean? A lot of times you gotta look at you and go, well, damn, how did I end up with like someone like this? You know what I mean?
Mm,
What's in me that attracted her, and the Lord sent her my way. So you know what I mean. Definitely, there is some self reflection as well. You know what I'm
Khan.
saying?
Pardon, sir.
Ain't no sweat. All right, read verse 26.
Quran Khan. Mark 12:26. And as touching the dead, that they rise.
Uh-huh.
Have ye not read in the book of Moses how in the bush God spake unto him, saying, I am the God of Abraham and the God of Isaac and the God of Jacob?
So now with Christ, he's cut them on, you know what I mean? Whose wife should she be? Now he's cutting them on the resurrection, saying, listen, man, in the book of Exodus, what did God say? I'm the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Now, what does that mean? It means that Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob must be alive. Because if he's the why? Because if he's the God of them, and then now these men are dead, then what relevance is it, man? You're the God of men that are just dead and they're not back on the earth. What does that mean, man? You're the God of people that are just dead. Then what relevance is that? Unless they're alive, man. Unless being their God, it means something, and these people are back on the earth. And if you think I'm making it up, read the next verse.
Quran Khan. 27. He is not the God of the dead.
What did that part say?
Quran Khan. He is not the God of the dead.
Meaning what? When it comes to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, he's not the God of the dead. Meaning what? These people must be alive.
That's right.
In some next life, they obviously don't know their Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. But he's saying, listen, God ain't the God of the dead. You mean what relevance is of someone who's dead? He's saying, listen, man. You know what I mean? If he's the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, the God we serve ain't the God of the dead. Meaning what? These men are alive.
Right.
Read on.
Quran Khan, sir. But the God of the living.
But the God of the living, man. Meaning what? In the book of Exodus, where he said, I'm the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Why is he saying that? Because these men are alive, man. They are resurrected. So he's also cutting them on the resurrection, saying that, like, look, you know what I mean? Why would he mention who he is the God of if they're dead? What relevance is it? These are men that died thousands of years ago. It's relevant if they're alive, if they're still on the earth, and that's the point that big Christ is making. So he cut them on the resurrection and the dumb question they asked him about whose wife should she be. Making sense. All right.
Salakia, sir.
Go ahead.
So basically, Samson, Isaac, Jacob, all the people in the book, all the things that's happened in the scriptures with the prophets, right? They're all here. Well, not exactly all here, but would be in the UPK, right?
Absolutely. The UPK is the place of the prophets. So most definitely they'll be here. Of course, no one knows who they are. So I don't want to hear, I feel like I'm Isaiah, I mean, when I read Isaiah, I just feel like that's something I would do. Like, nah, we don't do those things here. I don't want to hear, what I mean? I'm like Daniel, man. I'll be in the lion's den serving God no matter what. You know what I mean? We don't do them things here, but the point is they're back on the earth. In the book of Ecclesiastes, it says there's no remembrance of the things of the past. I'm just paraphrasing it. So you wouldn't know, even if it was, you know what I mean? So I wouldn't entertain that. But the point is, these men are back on the earth. That's what we do know.
Cut on,
And
council.
you know what I mean? So that answer, I got a comeback question. Salaki, I understand, but would that mean if we were a baby again, our past sins in the all life don't matter? No, your past sins do matter. Why? Because in the book of Exodus, it specifically says that your past sins do matter. But in regards to your husbands and wives, that's irrelevant. But your sin, what you did against the Lord in your past life, that does matter. In the book of Exodus, it says he would punish them in their third and fourth generations. So meaning when you come back, the Lord will punish you for the sins that you did. But in regards to husbands and wives, those bonds don't matter if I'm making sense. Another question. This is from Shamgar. It says, Slak, it's a kind of a breakdown on numbers 4 and 6. Let's get that. Let's get numbers 4 and 6.
Cut on, council. Numbers 4 verse 6. And shall put thereon the covering of badger's skin, and shall spread over it a cloth wholly of blue, and shall put in the staves thereof.
Okay, so you want a breakdown on this. So exactly what do you need broken down? So I can give you just a basic breakdown. So this is the a tabernacle right here, and the Lord is telling us how He wants it made. So what's verse 6 saying? And shall put thereon a covering of a badger's skins. So of course it's not a garment. You know what I mean? This is what the Lord wants for like a tent, basically. And shall spread over it a cloth, a woolly of a blue. So that was the color the Lord wanted it. And
Woolly.
shall put the sedaves thereof. So a sedave is like a staff. So to make that sheet upright, basically with the sticks, it'll basically hold it up. So it's like a big tent, if that's understandable. Also, if you have a Bible dictionary, there is a picture of it. So if I'm reading how it would look like, and all it is, it's like a big tent, and there's a wooden a days in it to like hold it up. So one sheet stick, it goes around it. Another sheet, another stick, and basically with the tabernacle, just look at it like a big tent, and that's literally all what it is. All right, so if you understand that, give me a con. Aisha understands what I mentioned. All right. Any other questions? I got another one here from Zayakwa. Salakia, do do sins we commit in our past lives affect our children in our current life as well as ourselves? Yes, absolutely. In the book of Jeremiah, I'll get a precept to show you that. Jeremiah 31.
Is there a verse, Captain?
Yeah, I'm literally about to get it. Jeremiah 31, and we can start. They start from verse 29.
Come on, come
Jeremiah
on.
1 and 29.
Jeremiah 31 verse 29. In those days they shall no more. The fathers have eaten a sour grape, and the children's teeth are set on edge.
Meaning what? Your ancestors, they sinned and you're a teeth on edge. So I'll break down the an analogy. This analogy, imagine your dad, he ate the grape. And then now when it says your teeth are on edge, meaning that what? Your teeth rot. Meaning he ate the grapes and basically your teeth, they're rotting. Meaning what? You're paying for what he did. Meaning what? He ate the grapes, but for some reason, your teeth are rotting. That's what it means by your teeth are on edge. Now, in the book of Jeremiah, it's saying it's not going to happen no more. Meaning, in the new covenant, you pay for your sin. But at one point in time, sin was actually a generational thing, meaning you're born, and yes, in the next life, that person gets a punish, but because you're a descendant of them, you pay too, man. His sin, then, along with him, you're paying too.
It's like the other one, but regeneration hasn't changed from the old to the new. So in the old, he'd still come back with a different father from the same tribe and the same nation. But that father who sinned. See what I'm saying? Break that down.
Not quite. If you can rephrase it so I can understand it a bit.
Okay, Christ lifted the sin with his death, so you didn't have to pay for your father's iniquity in that life. You come back with a different father, and that sin was washed away. But in the old, you would have still been reincarnated with a different family or a different father. So why would you have to pay for that father's sin that you had in your life before?
Okay, so the reason why you pay is because even though in your new life you don't know it, but what you came from them. So even by you coming from someone who broke the law, you pay. If I'm making sense. So you know what I mean. So basically, it's not your fault, but that's how it was. So in the book of Jeremiah, he's prophesying about the new covenant. But even here, it's saying that what your fathers ate the sour grapes, and your teeth on edge, meaning what you paid for it. Your fathers sinned, and you're paying for what your fathers did. Which you know what I mean is the point that you can also pay for the sins of your fathers too. If you get what I'm saying, fam, not you know what I mean, making it hard to understand. You know what I mean? And also with Christ, you know what I mean? He died for those to come unto him. So it's not just with Christ, he died now. You know what I mean? It's all lifted. With Christ, he died so that what? For those that come unto him. And guess what? That can get lifted off you. It's not like you mean with Christ, he lifted it for everyone. As a nation, we come unto him. That whole generational curse, it can be lifted off us, which is also another thing as well. So meaning what? We paid for things that we didn't even do. We was born into a families and we paid for their passings, even though we did not even do it, which is the point. So that's a precept that you can use at what? They ate the grapes, your teeth was on edge, meaning what? Your teeth rotted for what they did. Well, of course, the whole analogy is not even about grapes. It's about they sin, you pay for it, which is really what it's all about.
Slaki, sir.
Go ahead.
So when we come into the kingdom, right, and we have a wife and we have children, in that thing won't be carrying on that curse there with it, because we're in the kingdom and there's not going to be no sin there. Am I correct?
Okay, in the kingdom, there's not going to be no sin, but it's not a magical thing. There's not going to be no sin. Why? Because the laws of God are going to be enforced. It's not just, you know what I mean, in your mind. There's not going to be nothing evil in your mind, but what? You're going to get locked up for it. You're going to die for it. You're going to pay for it, which is the point.
So the laws of the Bible will be in effect at that time.
That's right. So you mean
Right.
so? It's like now in the UK we follow their laws. Imagine this: a time's gonna come where every law in this book is gonna be the law of the earth. You mean we can't imagine it now? Of course, in here a, we can, but that's is what it's going to be. But in this Bible, every law you read is going to be done literally. People are, you mean, going to live their life according to what is in here. Everybody, Alan.
So, in the kingdom, the heathens are going to be following our law, but will they sing? Are they going to be singing?
No, they're not. The heathens are not going to sin. Why? Because the law's going to be enforced. You sin or you do a sin that is worthy of death, you die.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, obviously, but I'm saying like, if they sin, they're gonna get, they're gonna
The punishment.
get the punishment.
Absolutely.
That's what I mean.
Absolutely. So that's the kingdom of heaven, basically. The whole earth following God's laws. You know what I mean? That's the easy way of breaking it down. You know what I mean? So where was we?
We was, 31.
No,
30. It was.
I got you. Yeah, let's read that. Verse 30.
All right, cut on, Khan. Jeremiah 31, verse 30. But everyone shall die for his own iniquity.
Mm-hmm.
Every man that eateth the sour grape, his teeth shall be set on edge.
There you go. I mean, what? When you repent, you can end that generational curse, man. And then basically from then, everyone dies for their sins. Meaning what? We are in a loop, and we can actually break it. Which is what it's saying here that listen, you change, everyone will die for eating their grape. You're not gonna have this hard life being cursed, afflicted by the Lord for some stuff that you didn't even do. I mean, you come under this new covenant, which is gonna say, as we read on down, you can end it. And basically from then, anyone who sins, they pay. You mean their teeth are gonna be on edge. Meaning what? You can end this generational curse. Read that.
Cut on, Khan, verse 31. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the.
Oh, it's like you froze. It's like if you want to read it in the class,
So like it's,
go back. I got it. Ain't no sweat.
Yeah, Khan. 31. Behold, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Jacob.
There you go. So what does it also let you know? That this is in effect under the new covenant. Meaning what? You have to change though. It's not like as if the new covenant does it for everyone. Every Israelite has a chance to break that generational curse, man. Under Christ. So you mean so you can pay for sins that you did not even do, which is the point of this verse. Of course, there's a new covenant too, but I pulled it just to show you that you can pay for your father's sins. You know what I mean? All right, I've got a few comments online. All right, let me put these down. Slakia, last question. With redemption, if we confess sin and stop them, would we be free from the punishments and past current sins? Absolutely. Give me John 3 and 16. Now, of course, we're going to read it the right way. You know what I mean? I know in the church, we've read John 3:16 so many times, but this is how you break down John 3:16 and what it really means, yeah?
John 3:16. For God so loveth the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whosoever believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life.
There you go, meaning. Now, of course, in the church, we've heard this verse a million times.
Like you say, you're cutting up.
Am I cutting up? How about now?
Yeah, Yeah, I think it might be down my end. I'm not sure, but yeah, I can see you now.
I got you. And
Can't.
it's
You good? Yeah, you told me.
in the church, we've heard John 3:16 so many times. You know what I mean? The world isn't the earth. The world is talking about the world of Israel. I mean, you can even look at the definition of the word world. It means the people of a common goals. And what with Christ, he's a Jew. And what world is talking about? The nation of Israel. For what? God so loved the Israelites that he gave his only begotten son, meaning what? He gave Christ, that for whosoever believeth, meaning what? You gotta believe that with Christ, he died for you, man. If you're black, Hispanic, Native Indian, you gotta believe that this man died for you to give you a second chance.
That's right.
What does the rest of it say?
Qadwan Khan. For God sent not his son into the world to condemn the world, but that the world through him might be saved.
There you go. So meaning with Christ, he didn't come to condemn us. Why? Because we was a people under sin. You know what I mean? Every generation just punish. And Christ, he didn't come to condemn us, but that we can have life, meaning what? That we could end this whole generational curse thing that we had. Christ came to put an end to it. That what? We believe that, listen, you know what? This man died to give me a second chance. I'm going to live in his name, man. I'm going to live and keep all them laws. I'm going to repent. I'm going to redeem myself. So absolutely, you know what I mean? If you take that route of redemption, sin and no more, absolutely, you can end that generational curse. Read on. Oh, I think you froze again. Suck it, Ariel, if you want to read that for me, John 3 and where we was. Can't yet.
John 3:18. He that believeth on him is not condemned, but he that believeth not is condemned already.
There you go.
Because he have not believed.
Stuck it. So now, don't believe that what Christ died to redeem you, to give you a second chance. You're condemned. But if you do, then what? You know what I mean? You get that everlasting life. So absolutely, you know what I mean? You following the law, changing your life, believing that this man died to give you a second chance and you live in his name, that absolutely can break a generational curse, right? And yes, if your kids are born in the truth, then you know what I mean, they don't need to pay for their past sins. Why? Because they've repented. You know what I mean, they are following God. I got another question. Got quite a few, actually gonna knock these down. So we got Rakalia Sha'ala Salaki sir. The Bible says, honor your mother and father. Is it a sin if you don't, if you have a valid reason? Well, okay, I would need to know the specifics because a valid reason, a lot of times people don't have a valid reason. They just don't like their father or their mother. And you know what I mean? Now, in the Bible, to honor your father and mother, in a nutshell, it just means when they're old, look after them. Just honor them. Just give them that respect. Don't send them to a care home where they get abused. They don't get washed. There's some people in the care home. The mother smells like fish, man. And I mean, now I'm dead serious. They go to visit the mother. The mother smell like a fish market, man. And guess what? They're not washing their mother, man. I mean, there's a brother I know. He went to kiss his mom. I was about to leave, and her breath was horrendous. You know what I mean? He stops me in his tracks. He's like, I just couldn't do it. And then of course he complained, like, listen, man, like what, like, what's up? So you know what I mean? Definitely, you do want to look after your father and your mother. That is honor. Why? Because when you was a baby, they looked after you, and you honor them by looking after them.
That's right.
So let's get Ecclesiastes 8:1. In the Apocrypha, and let me get that.
Oh, Apocrypha, right?
Oh, my apologies. Ecclesiasticus.
Oh, okay. Yeah, what verse and chapter, sir?
It's either chapter 8 or 9. Let me get there with you.
Come.
Nah, that's on it. One second. I'll find it. I'll find it.
Golden touch.
Quick, bear with me. It's Ecclesiastes. Let me get it.
Ecclesiasticus or Ecclesiastes?
Ecclesiasticus. I'm messing
Oh.
up today. Right, Ecclesiasticus. Let's run through these chapters real quick. Right, I'll find it real quick. All right, 7.
Golden touch. And everything your lips touch mine.
All right, Ecclesiasticus, almost there. I know it's one of the early chapters. So quickly gonna get it. All right, I might just type in the verse that I know so I can get it.
Is it this one, sir? Verse Ecclesiasticus 8, verse 6, dishonor not a man in his old age.
No. 1 second. I'll type in a part of the verse that I know. 1 second. Yeah, I can imagine. So, is it Ecclesiasticus 3 and 8?
Ecclesiasticus 3, verse 8. Honor thy father and mother, both in word and deed,
Uh-huh.
that a blessing may come upon thee from them.
All right, for the blessing of the Father. 1 second. Yeah, you can skip to verse 12.
My son, help thy father in his old age. Salakia. My son, help thy father in his age, and
Yeah.
grieve him not as long as he liveth.
And there you go, man. That's how you honor your father and your mother. When they're in their old age, look after them, man. Help them. Be there for them. That's how you do it, man. You know what I mean? Now, I know, you know what I mean, some parents may have done you some wrongs in the past. But listen, man, you got to forgive, man. They're old now, man. We're like, what are you gonna do? Beat them up over it? Still hold it. You gotta just let it go, man. I mean, you're gonna be mad forever. You're gonna, you know what I mean? Every time you see them, you know, when I was 12, he did this to me. Listen, man, you're a big man, man. Or a woman, you're still angry at what happened when you was 12 years old. You're gonna have to let it go, man. You can't hold on to it forever, man.
Salakia said,
Go ahead.
what if they're still wicked towards you?
Well, listen, you know what I mean? It doesn't mean you have to call them and contact them. But when they're old, just be there for them. Even if you have their own house and you visit and you just clean up on that, just you know what I mean, as you know what I mean, as a child of theirs, do your job. It doesn't mean you got to always ring them every second, but you know what I mean. When they're old, just take care of them.
But they got other kids though.
Okay,
They got
so they have other kids. Well, listen, man, you know what I mean? You like can take it in turns. You know what I mean? It's not fair to a burden one kid with everything. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Just take it in turns.
what if she say, so like you said, what if she say she don't want their help? She don't want nothing from Hakayan, Korab.
Okay, so she says she doesn't want nothing from Haki and Karab. Guess what? Even when she says that, do it, man. Show her that. Show it. Look, even though you don't like me, I love you, man. represent the Lord, show that listen, God is real, man. Even though you hate me, you're my mother, and guess what? I'ma love you no matter what, man. Even though you're old and you can't help yourself, I'm still gonna look after you, man. And guess what? Even by that, you can win that person, but that person has to look at themselves like, look at me, like I'm more hostile. Look, this person showed me love, no matter what. It makes that person reflect and look on themselves, man.
For me to do that, right, I would need to do a 2-day fast, 3-day fast. Straight, me not gonna lie to you. I need to do a fast. I get weak in the flesh, yeah, and strong in the spirit to go there. And
I hear you, brother.
yeah, God,
Well, you know what I
yeah,
mean? What I would recommend is I mean, you definitely get some accounts on it. You know what I mean? You're honest, that helps a lot. But you know what I mean, most definitely, you know what I mean, do get some accounts on it. You know what I mean?
Con. Yeah,
I got it. So that's how you honor them. Basically, when they're old and they can't look after themselves, you look after them. It doesn't mean you need to ring them all the time and put on something that's not you. Just look after them. That's the easiest way of breaking it down.
yeah. So lucky, sir.
But
Raquel said something on the thing, yeah, and what would you do in that situation? Yeah, and I'm the same as well. But once I get round, when I get round to it.
right, what if they don't want you to? So you know what I mean? Even though they don't want you to, you know what I mean? Really, you should. Or if you do it on behalf, or if someone does it on your behalf, but you know what I mean? Let's follow the lawyer. Let's you know what I mean? Even if you know what I mean, you have a brother, and of course you know what I mean, she doesn't want to see you. You know what I mean? You sitting down there like, please, you know what I mean? Can you sort this and that out? Even if they don't want you to, but still, you know what I mean? They have to be looked after in their age.
Salakia, sir.
Yeah.
Salaki, can you break down Isaiah 4 verse 1, please?
Oh, you got a question? All right, no, so all right. Look, before we get to that, let me just. So yeah, because right. So if you forgive, but rather keep that relationship. Now, okay, here's the thing: to forgive is an action. If you forgive someone, you're not seeking vengeance. So to forgive someone, it doesn't mean you to hug them and be all over them. You're not paying them back for what they did. That is to forgive someone. They see what I mean. All right, so 1 second. There was a few questions up above. Let me. I got Sister Sharapar. Shalom. Not sure if this has been answered, but regarding regeneration, which life will we be judged on when Yahweh returns? So, okay, which life? Go ahead, right?
The last one.
But that's right. Your last one. So for us in the UPK, we have changed our life. So we get judged on what we're doing right now. You've repented. In the Bible, it says all things are passed away, meaning what you did in the past, once you change your life, it's gone. So you are going to be judged on what you're doing now, this life. You know what I'm saying?
You mean judged on this life corresponds now?
Yes.
And you don't come back again in that life.
Then okay, it depends on how you live. So if you live righteous, died righteous, and then you come back, you were going to live righteous again. But no, if you know what I mean, was living righteous, got into sin, left truth, died, then of course you're gonna have to pay. But
Salafi are the one. Furthermore, one thing we should all bear in mind, even the ones of us that are in the truth, is that we was all wicked in our last life, or we wouldn't be here now.
that's right. You know what I mean? If we have to repent, then we've obviously done wrong. Hence why we are in here. So basically you will get judged on this life. You know what I mean, you repented. Now of course anything you do from this point on, you are accountable. So you will be judged on this life. To answer that one. Got a few more. What else I want you to? Got another one from Zaikwa. How about those born to a heathen a mother, especially who they didn't grow up with? Now, of course, if you don't know your mother, then what can you do? You know what I mean? You don't know. You know what I mean? So in them situations, you don't know your mother, don't know who she is, then you're not accountable for that. You can't just randomly look after somebody. You know what I mean? If you don't know, if you
But
don't know, you just don't know. You know what I
but
mean?
but
I know.
Salakia,
I want to keep it low. I'm just looking
but
after you.
Salakia, sir. So basically, just because she didn't know her mother, yeah. But sorry, she didn't grow up with her mother and have no relationship with. The title is still her mother, right?
Okay,
Do
but
she?
the point I'm making is, if you don't know who your mother is, now of course, if she does know, then yes. I mean, when she's old and she's unable to help herself, you should look after her.
Even a heathen one?
Absolutely. You mean your a mother is your mother, Israelite or not? Your mother is. So you know what I mean. Even if your mother is not an Israelite, she's your a mother same way, and you will be obliged to look after her. It doesn't make a difference. Just like with Jacob and Esau, his mother loved Esau still. Why? Because it's a son. It doesn't make a difference, even though she knows that. Listen, like you know what I mean, they are two different nations. She looked after Esau. Obviously, you know what I mean. If he was raised to be a big man, she obviously breastfed that boy, or he wouldn't be alive. So she looked after him. So it's irrelevant if your mother is an Israelite or not. You still look after her in her old age.
Carlton.
I got you. All right.
We break that Isaiah, sir, 4, verse 1, 4 and 5. Sorry, 5 and 7, 5 to 7.
So which verse do you need broken down?
Um, verse
Isaiah
5,
4 or 5?
5 to 7. So 1, yeah, where it says, in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man.
Okay,
See,
so
yeah,
we'll break it down. So exactly what do you want broken down in that day? Like which
yeah.
day?
What day is that?
Okay, so to find out what day is that, start from Isaiah 3 and 24.
Isaiah 3, verse 24, and it shall come to pass that instead of sweet smell, there shall be stink.
Uh-huh.
Instead of a girdle, a rent, and instead of a wall, sorry, Salakia, and instead of a well, set hair, baldness.
So now what it's talking about, you know what I mean? This talking about the a boldness that the daughters of Zion have. You know what I mean? Where we buy hair products and you know what I mean, weaves and stuff like that. This is in the Bible. So it's talking about that day. So it's talking about right now. You know what I mean? So many people just run to Isaiah 4 and 1, but Isaiah 3 and 24, it's actually setting the scene of what that day is. Read on.
Kadon Khan. And instead of a stomacher, a girdling of sackcloth,
Uh-huh.
and burning instead of beauty.
Meaning what? What our women had in the past, they're not gonna have none of it, man. You know what I mean? All the royal apparel that our women had, now they're just wearing leggings, man. They're wearing a thin piece of material. just to cover them. Whereas in the past, a woman had loads of garments, expensive clothing, and this is the time that we are living in now, where what our women, that high state and thing that they had, they don't have it anymore. So okay, is the internet right? You frozen?
Yeah, it's frozen a bit, but I can still hear you.
You can hear us. Okay, then ain't no sweat. Hopefully it works out for itself. Read verse 25.
Qadwan Khan, thy men shall fall by the sword.
And that happened, man. That's happening right now with the knife crime, man. Our men are falling by the sword, man. In America, you know, the Bloods, the Crips, and all various gangs, wherever we are, what happens? Our men fall by the sword, meaning we die at a alarming rate, man. Black on black crime is the term that people like to use. Read on.
Qadwan Khan, and thy mighty in war,
Mm-hmm.
and her gates shall lament and mourn, and she shall be desolate. Shall Salakia, and she being desolate shall sit on the ground.
Meaning what? With the women that we have, they're on the ground, meaning what? There's no one to hold them up, man. There's no one to uplift them. Why? Because the men are dying, man. There's no one to, lead a woman in the right way. Now read Isaiah 4 and 1.
And in that day,
And in what day? The day that
in
the
that
righteous.
day,
And in that day, what? Meaning, what day is he talking about? The day of Isaiah 3 and 24. The day when the woman's lamenting. She, there's no man to uphold her. The men are dying from the a royal estate that she has to the way that we are now. And in that day, what day? That same day we were talking about in Isaiah 3 and 24. Reader.
and in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man.
There, so in that day, because the men are dying by the sword and all these things, guess what? 7 women, they're gonna just take hold of one man, man. Now, what a kind of man are we talking about? A righteous man, man. You know what I mean? They're gonna want a man. Why? Because there's hardly any men out there, man. And also, there's hardly men out there that like these women even want. You know what I mean? To even be more specific about it, read on.
So Salakia, so if I could, so 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 just because there's no men around, we'll be the only ones around, so they don't have a choice.
To some degree, right now, you got some women, you know what I mean? They are lesbians. Now, of course, that's wrong, of course, but basically, it's speaking in a general. It's not talking about every single woman. There are some women that will be with a man in the world, but for the most part, a woman that wants a righteous man, you know what I mean? They're gonna know, look, man, a man of the Lord is hard to find, and that's why
Who is it?
he's gonna have to have multiple wives because they're gonna be like, listen, I want that man. I want this man that serves the Lord. I want this man who what the Lord is with him, which is the point. I don't know.
Salakia, sir, someone's at the door, Salakia.
I got yeah. And also Ariel, if you want to read on Isaiah 4 and 1.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 4, verse 1. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach.
And that's how you know it's talking about right now. Let me tell you something. In the UPK, when a woman has a husband, what you say? I'm the husband of so and so, meaning what? I'm called by his name, meaning what? These women, the one to be under your wing, no, listen, that's a righteous man. I want to be with him. You know what I mean? I want to be called by his name.
That's right.
The wife of, officer so and so, the trooper so and so, meaning they want to be under him. Why? Because they know that the Lord is with him, man. And to take away thy reproach, meaning what? Their shame. So it means some women, the shame, it can be a different thing. So that's depending on whatever the case may be. but they want to get rid of that shame. And what do? They go and find themselves a righteous man. Read on.
Verse 2. Come on. Verse 2. In that day shall the branch of the Lord be beautiful and glorious.
Okay, verse 2 is going into something else, but verse 1, if you start from the chapter up above, it lets you know what that day is, basically, you know what I mean? And that day is right now. We're dying, and you know what I mean? Basically, we're people that are desolate, and in that day, that's when it's going to happen. So it's happening now, not in the kingdom, or, you know, like how many people like to say. That day is right now, basically. Questions? Go ahead.
You taking questions?
Yeah, oh yeah, I'm taking questions.
In Proverbs 14 and 11, what house is King David, King Solomon, Salakia, talking about? And which tabernacle of the upright shall flourish?
Okay, no sweat. Let's get that. Proverbs 14 and 11. Can't yeah, no sweat.
Proverbs 14, verse 11.
Nice to have Aviala was about to read.
Oh, okay, no sweat.
Hey, no sweat.
Am I still here?
Yeah, yes, okay.
Okay, the book of Proverbs, chapter 14, verse 11. The house of the wicked shall be overthrown, but the tabernacle of the upright shall flourish.
Okay, so your question is like, what house and what a tabernacle is it talking about?
What house is King Solomon talking about? Other one.
Okay. Now, the house isn't a literal house. You mean
Nations.
it can be a nation or a family. So it's not a literal house. Like, for instance, in the book of Matthew, where Christ says, I'm not sent but unto the house of Israel. He's not talking about a literal house. In the Bible, sometimes house can mean your family. So the point making is that, like, verse 14, the house of the wicked shall be overthrown, meaning the family or the nation of the wicked shall be overthrown. That's the point. So the house isn't a literal house. So mean like, for example, with the white man, he's going to be overthrown. He's a nation, he's a family, he's a house. So you mean so you can use it like that. So the house isn't a literal house. And likewise, with a tabernacle, that's a tent. And in ancient times, certain tabernacles were a house. It's like a big tent. So really, that's the point. So the house and the tabernacle is not so literal, if I'm making sense. You know what I mean? It's basically talking about the people or nations or families, which is the point. You know what I mean? All right. Anything else? You have something else? I got you. Okay, no sweat. Any other questions? All right then. Let's get Jeremiah 6 and 16.
Golden touch. Jeremiah 6, verse 16, yeah?
Yeah.
Thus saith the Lord, Salakia. Salakia, sir.
No sweat. Okay.
Thus saith the Lord, stand ye in the ways and see and ask for the old paths.
Now, what? So now, with this verse right here, the Lord's talking to Jeremiah right here, and he said to me, listen, go stand in the way and see, and that's for the old path. And now, why are we here? Because a lot of times, as a nation, you know, with having to work and do so many things, we don't observe. And now, so many people say, oh, the UPK is racist, the UPK is this, but if you stand and see, surely what you're in, it isn't right, man. You stand and see and go, listen, I'm in the church. What kind of path is this, man? I'm following my oppressor's God. You know what I mean? I'm following his God, saying that his God has the right way, man. If you stand and see as a Muslim, you should go, I'm in the mosque. I'm following an Arab's God that's got nothing to do with me, man. I'm in a mosque wearing a man dress, and this ain't my culture, not at all, man. And the Bible's saying, listen, just stand in the way and see, man. If you think what you're in is right, just observe, man. Just look. And then look. You know what I mean? All the black drug dealers that we have, where did it come from? The mosque, man. All these UK rap stars, they are in the mosque and they're selling drugs, man. There was an article out last year. There was a rapper called Asco, and he got arrested for county lines, man. It was drug dealing. And listen, he's in the mosque. And the Bible says, stand in the way and see, man. Just look, all these new religions that have come our way, all these, alleged new concepts on God that we found. Just, just look at them. Read on. It's what? Oh, I think it's on mute. Okay.
Salakia, sir. It was on mute. Salakia. I'll read that again. And see and ask for the old paths. Where is the way?
There you go, and ask for the old path, meaning after you look, ask for the old path, man. After you see what the church has done to blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians,
That's right.
ask for the. You know what? I need something else, man. It's clear
Right.
this isn't the way.
That's right.
I've seen what Islam has done.
Right.
You know what? I want the old path, man.
That's right.
This evidently isn't the way. And listen, that's what God's saying for us to do, man. You know what I mean? Just look. While it is so many of us, we are religious, and with that, you think, well, this religion is the way, even when it don't make sense, man. And if you just stand and see, if you just observe, the answer's right there. That listen, how can God be there, man? If you're in the church, how could God be in the church? Well, listen, the British Empire, they was following that same religion, man, and they colonized majority of the world, man. Killed, raped, robbed, you know what I mean, done all evil acts under a Christianity. If you stand and see, how could that be the way, man? How is their God after what they've done? You're telling me their God allows that? Then guess what? You should not want to serve their God, man. You should want to leave, you know what I mean, their God alone. If their
Right.
God allowed you to be enslaved under them for 400 years, if you stand in the way and see, it's very evident. If you're in a mosque, listen, Arabs hate black people.
That's right.
If you go to Saudi Arabia now as a black man, they would curse you out, man.
That's right.
They'll call you Abid, which in Arabic is an offensive word for black.
That's right.
They have black for just black in a general, but then they call you Abid, which is offensive, which is a offensive black. See, go ahead, listen. I'm following the same religion as him, and he don't like me. You know what I mean? You can't in Mecca as a black man. You can't do what they do. You as a black man, you dare try and do Hajj. You can't even do all of it, man, because you're black. If you stand in the way and see, it's very evident that listen, their God cannot be the way. But listen, the people of Muhammad, look at how they're dealing with me, and it's very obvious. Read on.
Kalawan Khan. But they said, we will not walk therein.
And that's the problem, man. We say we're not going to walk therein. I'm not doing that. I'm not an Israelite. I'm just a child of God, man. I'm a Muslim, and that's the problem. It's evident the truth is right in front of our face, but what? We're the people that don't want to walk therein. We are a people that don't want to do it, and that's why so many of us can't get out of it. Why? Because you know what I mean. For you to serve God, you have to walk therein. You physically have to do something, and that's something that so many of us don't understand.
That's true.
Read on.
Karawan Khan, sir. Also, I set watchmen over you, saying, hearken to the sound of the trumpet.
And listen, that's the UPK, man. We are those watchmen, and we say, hearken, man, listen. Look what the church has done. Look what the mosque has done. You know what I mean? We are making you alert, man, to what is happening in the world. Read on.
Karawan Khan, sir. But they said, we will not hearken.
And there you go. People don't listen, man. We're on the Birmingham High Street. We're on the Brixton High Street. And guess what? People just walk by, man. People don't listen to what is going on. And it's in the Bible, man. And listen, like, as a people, if we just observed and just listened, we could be free, man. But what happens is that religion, man, it shows how strong religion is, that it even blinds your eyes from what you see every day, man. Imagine this in the church, you would say racism don't exist, even though it happens to you as a black man every day, man. You're in the mosque saying, listen, man, Muhammad loves everyone. And the Quran don't say that, man. You know what I mean? The book that you read, it's not saying that. And that's how strong religion is, where it's in front of your eyes, but you don't want to see it, man. Read on.
Karawan Khan. Therefore hear, ye nations, and know, O congregation, what is among them.
And there, man. And the Lord saying, look what is among them, man. We are a people, we would even hide from the truth, man. He's saying, look what's among them. Look. It's evident that there's something wrong, and don't want to listen, man. That's the people that we are, man. But guess what? Even though blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, we are that way, we still have to go to camp, man. We're still going to be on those high streets. Why? Because there's a remnant that will listen. There are some people out there, one day, they will see, man. They will stand in the way, and they are going to want that good path, man.
That's true.
They're going to want that old path where the good way is therein. Read on.
Karawan Khan. O hear, O earth, behold, I will bring evil upon this people.
And there you go. Because we don't listen, the Lord says he'll bring evil upon us, man. And that's why doing camp and doing the work that we do is so critical, because we are a people that the Lord is bringing evil upon us, and we don't know why, man. We are people cursed, and the church tells us don't follow God's laws, man. We are people cursed, and the mosque is saying, well, I mean, don't read the Bible. That's why, you know what I mean? Believe me, the world needs the UPK, man.
That's right.
We are the answer for this earth.
That's right.
We have answers that, that regardless of what religion you're in, we have those answers, man.
Karawan Khan, sir. Even the fruit of their thoughts, because they have not hearkened unto my words nor my law, but rejected it.
There you go. We rejected it, man. And guess what? We're paying for what people done in the time of Jeremiah, man. They rejected it, and what? We are paying for it, man. It shows you that, you know what I mean? There is such thing as a generational curse. And if you come in here, you can end that, man. That whole generational curse. You can end the curse of people not listening in this verse that we read right now, man. You can end that. You can repent, meaning change. You can end your ancestors that did not listen from the time of Jeremiah, man. It can be done. Repentance is real, man. It's not a myth. you changing does have effects. Reader.
Salaki, so if I could.
Yeah.
So basically, what this from 16 up until now basically is saying, stand in the ways, the old paths. So if you was telling a Christian that, yeah, I mean, how would you break that to them? How would you explain that part to a Christian who thinks that, you know, laws are not done away with and all the rest of it? How would you go about explaining it to them? Just like how you said it, or is there?
Well,
I mean,
yeah. I would do it just like how I said. You mean ask him? Go look. This religion has enslaved us for 400 years, man. Look. It's nothing I'm making up. It's not no fairy tale. This religion was whipped into black people's minds, man. You're telling me that is the way of God? Stand in the way and see. Go look. Even in your church, what you do comes from the 1600s. In the black church, you're singing and dancing. Why? Because the oppressor told you that, man. He made you sing and dance to forget about your burdens on the cotton field, man, on the cane field. See, look, this clearly cannot be the way of God. If this is their God, I don't want no part of it, man. Their God allowed all this to happen. Then guess what? I can't follow that God, man. I'm seeing, and I don't want no part of it.
right.
Why? Because they pray to that God, and your ancestors, they pray to that same God. And guess what? The British Empire got richer. We got poorer, man. We got enslaved. We worked till we died. So it's clear that God, it wasn't hearing us. It's obvious that God heard them, and that God was not our God, man. Make him stand in the way and see. Go, well, look. Life shows you whose God that really was. It wasn't yours, because you wasn't redeemed, you wasn't emancipated. They got richer, and we got poor. And matter of fact, we got nothing. So you know what I mean? You definitely want to. Now, of course, you don't need to do it like that word for word. I'm just giving you an analogy, just something like that, yeah.
Right, can't say.
And you mean, and you mean that's what I would do personally.
Don't understand.
Reader.
Verse 20. To what purpose cometh there to me incense from Sheba, and the sweet cane from the far country?
All right, so for a time's sake, the Lord's saying, why bring all these offerings? Why bring all this incense? Why? Because the Lord wants obedience, man. All that incense and burnt offerings, the Lord don't want it if you're not obedient, and that was the point. So I'm up on the time. With that, I'm handing over to priest and officer Ariala. Let's give them.
Your hands to the teacher. Security announcements. We are the ISUPK, started out 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Rule for a new brother and sister. When a new brother or sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. If they need transportation, the teacher will arrange it. After 6 months, if a brother or sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother and sister will court each other. After this 6 months period, the brother and sister will get permission from the head to marry. Ties, which is a commandment, Numbers 18 and 12, Malachi 3 and 8, means 1/10 in the Hebrew, Ma'asherah. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, give to the Treasury Department or teacher. Priest funds, free will offering for priests, not mandatory. Whatsoever amount you would like, upcoming holy convocations, the Feast of Trumpets, and reminder to the Okyam and Akwathiam to check the bulletin board in the hallway. If anyone wants to be a trooper in the school, to start wearing all black, boot, shirt, pants, head, headband and scarf. And with that, men of Israel, I Modium Shabbat, I Modium Barak, Yehovah Hashem Yehoshai Barakatah,
How about Shemi Hawashai Baraktham?
Sa, which means turn. Give one courtesy salute to the sisters, men of Israel, I Modium Shabbat, I Modium Barak, Yehovah Shema, Yehovah Hashem Yehoshai, Yav Yamatah. Class dismissed.
Excellent, man.